Welcome to the Council meeting of Wednesday, 21st of May 2025. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, Berrigan Shire Council's meetings are recorded. By speaking at a council meeting, members of the public agree to being recorded. Berrigan Shire Council accepts no liability for any defamatory, discriminatory or offensive remarks or gestures that are made during the course of the council meeting. Opinions expressed or statements made by individuals are the opinions or statements of those individuals and do not imply any form of endorsement by Berrigan Shire Council. Confidential matters of council will not be recorded. Recordings are protected by copyright and owned by Berrigan Shire Council. No part may be copied, recorded, reproduced or transmitted without the prior written consent of the CEO. Any recording is not and shall not be taken to be an official record of the Berrigan Shire Council meetings or the discussion depicted therein. Only the official minutes may be relied upon as an official record of the meeting. A recording of the council meeting will be taken for administrative and minute preparation purposes only and is provided to the public for listening purposes to support council's statutory obligations. Berrigan Shire Council acknowledges the traditional custodians of the lands on which we live and thrive. We pay our respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. The people of these great nations, their spirits and ancestors will always remain with our waterways and lands. We have no apologies or leaves of absence today. 3.2, do we have any applications for leave of absence? No. Attendance via audio-visual link. We don't have anyone. Item 4, confirmation of previous minutes. The recommendation is that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held in the council chambers on Wednesday, 16 April 2025 be confirmed. Do we have a mover? Councillor Dennis, a seconder, Councillor Payne. All in favour? Thank you, carried. Item 5, disclosures of interest. Anyone got a disclosure? Councillor Dennis?
Yes, I've forwarded those through to you. There's in the operational plan there, if there's any discussion about gliding operations, then I'll leave the room.
Do you need more details for that?
Okay, so when we declare a conflict of interest, we need to declare what item it is, which is what you've done. It's in the delivery plan, operational plan. The nature of the interest, which is you own property that may be impacted by it, and what you propose to do to manage the conflict. One of the things that we can do is the council's DPOP is one of the things where, regardless of whether you've got a conflict or not, you're entitled to be involved, because literally nearly every council will have a conflict of interest when it comes to setting the ordinary rate. So I would just make it, all you're doing, I think, is bringing it to the attention as a conflict.
Correct.
Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Dennis. Anybody else? Councillor Brooker, did you want to mention?
Yeah, I know there's a report in there just for noting in regards to the Roads to Recovery Fund.
Local roads and community infrastructure, item 8.4.
Yep, and I'm the secretary of the Barooga Rec Reserve, which is involved in that, but I will just, again, it's only for noting, so.
For information. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you. We have no mayoral minutes, item 6, and item 7, no reports of committee. Okay, items 8.1 through to 8.6 are all for information, so we don't need anyone to move or second those. I understand, or there are some comments about 8.4. Does anyone have any comments for 8.1? No. 8.2. 8.3, 8.4. Other than myself, anyone else on that one? Okay. I do have a query in relation to the, against the grant, the cost of the public toilet facility that was added to the netball rooms. Am I correct in saying that that was taken out of that grant? Claimed against the grant? It appears that it was here.
I believe so.
I believe so.
It was.
Yep.
However, we do have a council resolution indicating that the Rec Reserve Committee would clean the toilets and that the cleaning budget would be used to pay for the toilets. We do, it's on pages 134 to 138 of our attachments. Is there any,
Resolutions on page 24.
it might,
Yeah.
is it on here? Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the whole paper, but that's fine. Do we have an explanation of how that could have come about?
I thought it was to offset the cost of doing the extra work, and the LRCI funding was used to finalise some of that work. It was like a considerable amount of work over the time it grew a fair bit, but
I don't think that's the case. I think the amount for the additional toilet was supposed to be offset by the committee doing the cleaning, but instead they've done the cleaning and we've claimed the funds against the grant. No one's sure. Can someone take that as a question on notice? Because I think we need to go back to the committee and tell them what's happened there. In which case, I understand additional works was undertaken because there was an issue with the DDA. I don't know how that could have been if we were aware of that. Perhaps that question can be taken on notice as well. Yep.
will it be easier, because it's quite operational, will that be easier for us to talk with you guys directly about, or, and the committee?
I think, yep, that's fine, but I think we need to get to the bottom of how that toilet was funded and whether we asked a committee to clean a toilet when we actually got the funding from elsewhere. It's not a good look, is my view. Anyway, we'll move on. 8.5. Does anyone have anything for 8.5? No. And 8.6. Which is the development determinations. Councillor Natikoa, I thought you might have had something for that.
Just grabbing my email that I sent. So just in relation to the timings listed in the report, it's listing that it's in April for the other certificates and also the applications pending as at the 31st of March. So just wondering if that data in there is for March or whether it's April's data with the incorrect date.
It's the latter. It's the correct data, but the 31st of the 4th it should read.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay.
If I could just have a question to
Sure.
the Director of Planning, sorry. Is it considerably quiet? What's the story? Like, I've never seen in all my 17 years so many, or not very many, development applications.
There is no doubt that the applications, both in planning and building, are obviously a lot less than previously been experienced. However, this would be more consistent with where the council was at probably 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So items 8.7 through to 8.10 are all for noting. So if we could move those as a block, do we have a mover?
Yep.
Councillor Natikoa, a seconder. Councillor Brooker. Thank you. Any comments on 8.7? Nope. 8.8, I think Councillor Brooker, you had a question?
Just in regards to one of the...
We can't hear
sorry.
you.
Just in regards to one of the actions, it hasn't been... We haven't responded yet to the Token War Memorial Hall since January, and it's just now the end of May.
That was the Crown Management
The
Plan?
Crown Management one, yes.
Oh, the Crown Land Management Plan.
Yes, sorry, I was just trying to get to it on my screen.
Matt, are we waiting for the Crown Land Management Plan for the War Memorial Hall?
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we're waiting for Crown Lands to get back to us.
No.
No? Sorry, I thought that was...
So it's in the, and again, it's not councillor's job to try and pull the pieces together. I should be explaining it better. But it's in the actions arising from the council meeting that we received response in April from from Crown Lands on both the draft plans that we have ready, that we are waiting to have assessed by Crown Lands. And that is one for Tocumwal Foreshore and one for Tocumwal Memorial Hall. The one for Tocumwal Memorial Hall, the consultant and I spoke with Crown Lands, and we've come to some agreement on the issues that are arising there. We're still waiting to have a meeting to discuss some of the items arising with Tocumwal Memorial Hall. The major item that's arising, of course, is the fact that the reserve is dedicated for community purposes, heritage purposes, and doesn't actually allow for commercial use. That said, the facility's been used for commercial use since forever, and we're going to need to come to some sort of pragmatic arrangement with Crown Lands. Predating the Crown Land Management Act, we just went ahead and organised our own lease and licence. We're trying to do it in a compliant manner now. In the interim, all we're doing is continuing to operate the existing licence on a holdover basis until such time as we have a formal document to offer. My last discussion with the licensee, they're after a formal lease for security for them and their equipment. We're after a formal lease for security of us and our equipment. However, at the moment, we're both operating on a licence until such time as we can legally offer a Crown Land lease.
Thank you, Deputy CEO. Councillor Natakawa?
Just looking for an update on the Foundry Park. So this is probably directed at Director of Infrastructure, just where that is up in relation to getting the mural moving or not.
Yes, we're doing a drainage investigation at the moment, and once we find those recommendations around the drainage investigation, then we can go to the adjacent property owner and see if they're happy with that going forward. Then they might consider the mural on the wall.
Great, thank you. And the other one I had was that the CCTV report is noted to be at the May Council meeting, but I didn't see it in the agenda at all.
Did I not report on that in the actions arising? That I've been spending nearly all of my time putting together some of the other documents you see in front of you, and I just not had an opportunity. I apologise to Council.
That's okay.
So that'll be for June? June meeting?
Corona?
Yes, sorry. I was nodding, I should have just said that out loud.
Anything else on the
No,
actions?
that's all I had.
Okay, thank you. 8.9, anyone? 8.10? Okay. All in favour of noting all those reports? Thank you, carried. All right, we're up to 8.11, which is the Tocumwal Football Netball Club agreement update. The recommendation is that Council note the report and delegate the CEO to execute the final agreement on behalf of Council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Stringer, do we have a seconder? Councillor Dennis. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
It's getting very messy.
Thank you, Councillor Natakawa. I received a phone call yesterday from the President of the Rec Reserve. The invite that I've previously given to the Football Club President to meet, I believe, will be taken up, but that has not yet been arranged. A few questions arising from my own consideration and all that discussion. The legal advice we've received in relation to the suitability of a licence, in my view, is inaccurate. The legal advice suggests that we can't enter into a licence with the football club. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Do we have, that's what it says in this paper?
Yeah.
Why are people looking at me oddly?
No, I'm not looking at you. I thought that was the case. I thought that was the case.
Page 1.
We don't have legal advice that says that, or we do have legal advice that says this?
I haven't seen legal advice.
Okay, just a bit confusion.
Right, okay. So we can enter into a licence, in which case, in my view, I think it's premature.
I don't know if we can or not. Excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
We haven't got legal advice to determine whether we should or shouldn't. The matter of whether we should or not is another issue. Whether another approach, an agreement, licence, lease is No, for us.
Well, there's another, lost my train of thought.
Oh,
Anyway. We apparently don't have a Crown management plan currently on the rec reserve, is that correct?
So, as discussed just previously, Mayor, we have come to a final agreement on what a draft management plan will look like with Crown Lands.
Yep.
Once that's signed off, it will go on exhibition for 28 days, then come back. Until that happens,
Yep.
technically we're not allowed to sign any leases. That said, of course, we've already had a lease
Yes.
on the footy club building, and we've already had leases on the foreshore building, which are all part of the same reserve. That said, if we're trying to comply, then
Yep.
we need to wait for the plan to be developed.
Yep, so we couldn't offer a new lease if we wanted to at this stage in any event. Or we could offer, we couldn't sign it.
Mainly correct, yes. There is a loophole we could use if we wanted to, but we're trying not to use loopholes.
Right, so the scenario in relation to the licence is that we haven't received legal advice to say we cannot enter into a non-exclusive licence.
I haven't seen legal
Sorry.
advice to that extent, CEO.
I honestly, I had a conversation and I thought that that's what we had said. So if I have got that wrong, I apologise, because I had thought that they were not a legal entity, so we could not engage that, but they are an incorporated bodies. So, yes, that would be my fault. I did think we had some legal advice there, so I will apologise for that. That was what I had believed our conversation had said. The licence, though, is generally non-exclusive and a lease is exclusive, is that correct? Yes.
Yes. Okay. So based on the conversations I've had, I've actually, and some further thought, I think we can probably achieve a licence that gives the football club 3/4 of what they would like. I think it's appropriate, as they've requested, and will I imagine, formally request myself and perhaps others to meet with them and have a candid conversation of what the resolution we have is on the books. My view, it's not appropriate at this juncture to delegate to the CEO yet. So
note the
that's my
report.
2 cents. Councillor Brooker, did you have?
Oh, I was just going to say in our previous meeting in December that we had said we were going to conduct some community consultation with other users. Has that been done?
As the drafting of the agreement was on that basis, but we need to be mindful that within our council there isn't anything like this that exists. So we had those conversations with other councils about what they do, and that's where that draft was provided to them to initiate the comments and discussion. Being mindful that nothing was going to be signed, because the resolution is to obviously have the discussion with them to get something that hopefully we could come back to council to be signed, sealed.
Thank you.
So the resolution was a draft proposed licence, because my recollection is we actually wanted to see it before we went to that extra step, because we recognise the sensitivity. So my view is that we note this report and we retain the resolution on the books. So our mover and seconder, who I'm not sure who that is because I don't have the usual thing in front of me.
Councillor Stringer
Stringer.
and Councillor Dennis.
Thank you. Are you happy to delete the second point there over the delegation?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So the recommendation is to note the report. Are all councillors in favour of that? Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And I will come back to everyone about any further updates that I may garner.
Thank you, that was good.
8.12, Riverina Murray Joint Organisation increase in fees. The recommendation is that council maintain its membership of Riverina Murray Joint Organisation, and that we note the fee increase to $30,000 per annum for Berrigan Shire as necessary to ensure the continuing financial viability of the organisation. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hannan, a seconder. Councillor Nardikoa. Any questions or comments?
I had a question.
Councillor Dennis?
It was about with the proposal with the Ramjo coming on board with the communications, whether that would be very valuable to have Ramjo as part of that communications presentation to get a tower.
Oh, the
Connectivity.
I am working with Ramjo already to get the regional connectivity project done. Yes, I am. They are already on board with that.
Thank you.
Councillor Stringer, did you
No,
have any?
no.
No? Anyone else? Okay, all in favour of that recommendation? Thank you, carried. Country University Centres, confirmation of funding support 813. The recommendation is that council commit to providing $10,000 per annum to the establishment of the Country University Centre in Finley for the first 4 years of the establishment of the CUC in Finley from the time of the receipt of grant funding by the CUC Southern Riverina Steering Committee. Do we have a mover? Councillor Dennis, seconded Councillor Natikoa. Any questions or comments?
I have a question if I could.
Councillor Hannan?
So what happens to the funds? Are they consolidated if the Country University Centre doesn't get up in the next 4 years? Because I read the last report around, the last submission, and then obviously they're going to put in for the next round. At what are we dying a slow death here, or what point are the funds quarantined? How do they dispersed if and when whoever's behind this decides that we're not going to continue to advocate?
So we're not putting any money in until we've got money from a grant funder.
Yep.
We've just put in an application through Sustainable Communities for the capital works. I think we've got an okay, we seem to have a lot of support for that. So the works, then the money is quarantined, like any money we gave would be quarantined for Finley, and any money that Edward River give is quarantined for Deniliquin, and we'll keep those separate.
And a further one, just if I could, and it's not to do with the fund, well, it's part of the application, obviously. So the feedback from the last application, is there any indication that they're going to fund another Country University Centre within a couple of 100 kilometres of the last one they do? I know the parameters are that people won't travel, any more than an hour, but is it still down the same path, or is it a path that needs to be separated?
That's why we've gone to Sustainable Communities, because we weren't sure if there would be another round of regional study hubs. We aren't sure.
Yep.
The federal government just changed over, so they might announce that and they might not. The feedback that we received was very political. There was very little to say why we didn't get the last round, other than that there was a lot of political decision making in there. So yeah.
And I suppose the last one is the same person that done the first two submissions. Will they be doing the third submission as well, or will they be outsourced to somebody else?
No, we've already done the submission. We did that
already been
in-house.
done,
We did that through the committee. We did that ourselves. Yeah.
Okay,
And you stepped down from that committee?
Yes, I've stepped down from the committee. So Edward
Yeah.
River has taken over the lead council on that, because we've done a couple of years, so it's probably their turn to do the next couple of years. But and Merrin is sitting on the board, the committee now in my stead. So I'm not as engaged as I was.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Healy?
Thank you. Just to understand what you've just said, Corrine, CEO, is the plan, am I getting it that the funding is not through the regional hub money, is what the CUC has applied for in the last two submissions, and this is a new approach to a different funder? And is there a plan that the CUC has for when they, like their review, or what's their, how long will they keep going? Or is it just as long as everybody on there is still?
As long as everyone wants to continue to engage. If we pulled out and we said, look, we don't think it's going to happen here, then I guess Deniliquin and Edward River would have to decide whether they wanted to do that on their own.
Yeah.
Hay was obviously in first with us in the first when we had 4, and they've got theirs. Murray River is now working with Monash, I believe, to get a centre there. So through Bendigo or something like that. So they've gone down different paths. But
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favour of the recommendation? Thank you, carried. 814, the Mayor and Councillor allowances for 25-26. The recommendation is that Council adopt the following Mayor and council law allowances effective from 1 July 2025, council allowance of $13,930 and mayoral allowance of $30,390. Do we have a mover? Councillor Natakawa, a seconder. Councillor Healy, any questions or comments? Will remain the lowest paid councillors in the country. All in favour of the recommendation?
Through you, Mayor, I tried and they said no.
Yeah. Good.
Saw that.
Thank you. Carried. 8:15. We have the draft community engagement strategy and community participation plan for 25 to 28. The recommendation is that council endorse the draft community engagement strategy and community participation plan 25 to 28, that we place the draft community engagement strategy and community participation plan on public exhibition for at least 28 days from Thursday 22 May 2025 until 5 p.m. on Tuesday 24 June 2025, and we consider and order submissions received concerning the reviewed suite of integrated plans and adopt with any amendments these plans. It's ordinary meeting to be held at 9 a.m. Monday 30 June 2025. I think there's some words missing there. Anyway, we get the gist. Do we have a mover? Councillor Dennis, a seconder. Payne, any questions or comments? No, well done to the team for getting those all together. It's been quite an effort with those ones and the other plans we'll talk about today. All in favour? Thank you, carried. 8:16, financial quarterly business review statement number 3, financial year 24-25, quarter 3. The recommendation is that we note the March 2025 quarterly budget review statement attached as Appendix 1 and vote the funds contained therein. That we note OCM 284-25 of the April 2025 Ordinary Council meeting as relates to internal loan from Water Fund to General Fund by 30 June 2025, and that we note the March 2025 cash and investments budget review statement by fund attached within Appendix 1 and endorse any necessary 30 June 2025 balancing between funds of council to ensure externally restricted water and sewer restricted reserves are no less than 100% cash backed in each fund. Do we have a mover? Councillor Stringer, a seconder. Councillor Brooker, any questions or comments? No, all in favour of the recommendation? Thank you, carried. All right, 8:17, the draft integrated plan, again a mammoth effort. Our recommendation is that council adopt the following draft plans and strategies and policy for public exhibition and comment, being the draft long-term financial plan 25 to 36, the draft workforce management strategy 25 to 29, the draft delivery program 25, let's say 25 to 26, not 29.
Oh, that's a delivery
it's a
program's
4-year
for you.
Oh, okay, sorry, 25 to 29, operational plan 25-26, including the draft operational budget for 25-26, draft fees and charges 25-26, and draft capital works program 25-26, and the draft statement of revenue policy included in the draft operational plan 25-26. 2, that we place a suite of draft and reviewed integrated plans on public exhibition for at least 28 days from Wednesday 28 May 2025 until 5 p.m. on Wednesday 25 June 2025, that we consider and order submissions received concerning the reviewed suite of integrated plans and adopt with any amendments these plans at its ordinary meeting held at 9 a.m. Monday 30 June 2025. Do we have a mover? Councillor Dennis, a seconder. Councillor Healy, any questions or comments?
Mayor, if I
Yes.
could. Given we've got a listening post on Monday the 26th of May, we might change the date in item 2 to Monday 26th.
Item 2 being...
Apologies, this was drafted, I think, before I'd seen the
Place the suite
dates.
of draft and reviewed.
Have we actually advertised Monday?
We're waiting to advertise until you're resolved to actually,
It's a short time frame. Maybe we change that date.
that'd be my advice.
Yeah, I think we should, so people can read it first. Yeah.
That would be my advice.
we'll
Okay, I'll
change
get
the date of
Monday
the
night
listening
off,
post.
everyone. Monday's off.
Right, check. We'll just hand it back to the listening post.
So we'll leave the motion as we've got. Did we get a mover and seconder? Sorry, we did. Any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Councillor Natikoa.
Just hats off. It was a mammoth effort from everybody involved to get all of those documents together and issued. So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same comment.
Councillor Dennis,
There's
thank
a lot
you.
of work that went into that.
Can I just
Like
say
to
that
thank
they
the
are the
team.
most accessible documents as far as reading goes I think we've ever had. So I really wanted to thank Matt for an enormous effort to get that to a reading level that's accessible.
Very good to get plain language.
Tried hard.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, all in favour of the recommendation? Thank you, carried.
Excuse me, Mayor, if I could.
Sorry,
It
yes.
was remiss of me to not declare a non-pecuniary interest at item 813, as I am an employee of the Finley TAFE, and the Finley TAFE has been mentioned throughout that document.
Okay, we'll record that in the minutes. Thank you.
Just to clarify, so item 813, member of TAFE, and it's non-significant, non-pecuniary.
Yeah, I'm an employee. I have no,
Employee.
I have no power in any decision-making of the facility. I mean it.
Wonderful.
All right, item 9 is which is notice of motion and questions with notice of which we have none. We now move, we have confidential. Before we go into closed, I'll just, if, depending on how long we go, we may also take a break during this period before we return from closed council. But could I get someone to move us into closed council? Yep. Councillor Brooker, second to Councillor Payne. All in favour? Excellent, thank you.
Can we grab a couple of minutes just to go to the
Okay, we're out of closed council. At item 10.1, we had a report for noting on cybersecurity update. 10.2, a report for noting an update on ICT modernisation program. Item 10.3, we had a for information report relating to the Berrigan Caravan Park lease. Item 10.4 was a confidential commercial matter. And item 10.5, we have a tender, which, and the resolution is to award the tender submitted by Excel Grey Bruni Proprietary Limited for contract T13 2425 Stage 1 reconstruction, Murray Street, Finley, for the contract value of $760,780.30, including GST, subject to the CEO reviewing the scope and negotiating with the preferred supplier if any changes are required. Appoint Gary George as the contract authorised person and delegate the CEO to execute the contract on behalf of the council. So we'll now move to item 11, which is motions without notice or questions without notice. Does anyone have any? Councillor Payne?
First one.
You're not on, Renee.
Back in 2022, January, we had quarterly outstanding rate reports. We haven't had another one since. Is there a reason as to why?
There's no legal obligation to provide them. If you find them useful, we can put them back on the agenda.
I think with everything going on, they wouldn't hurt. Please. And if I may, another one for Gary. Have we ever had local roads, Piles Road and Woodstock Roads, the bends, assessed for potential widening? They're very narrow, dangerous, restricting your view, visibility and safety concerns. And if not, can we put them on for future funding maybe?
Yeah, we got a current investigation with those bends and we're doing a speed advisory, just checking those out at the moment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I nearly got taken out by a milk tanker. Thank you.
Anyone else? Councillor Natakawa?
Yeah, yes, I did. I've got the response in relation to the finance report. So I believe that was the one. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Councillor Stringer?
Yeah. The 40-kilometre speed limit in Tocumwal, what's going on with that?
Yeah.
Why don't we have signage? I'll help you put them up.
At the moment, still with Transport New South Wales around that.
Yep, okay.
They've made an assessment, it's not needed, but they still haven't provided the report
Right.
around that,
Okay.
so yeah.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
And that's the same with Brugger too.
Thank you. Councillor Hannon?
Yeah, just the vacant land at the back of Endeavour Street in Finley. We have I think there's a RV-friendly stay overnight or be able to park there for a restricted amount of time at the back of Endeavour Street to the south, near the railway station.
There's an area there which is owned by Transport Asset Holding Entity,
Yep.
which council has a lease which is on a holdover period, yeah?
My understanding is that people are parking up there for extended periods of times, maybe even trucks over 2 or 3 days. And yeah, if that's something that we could maybe even sign it to say that if it is a layover period, layover parcel of land, then it's only a layover for 24 hours, not extended. I know we can't police it, but at least if we could identify it, adjoining landholders and concerned citizens would be happy.
Anyone else? Councillor Dennis?
Just the ones that I had up at the last meeting for the motions without notice or the questions without notice. I just had 3 of them at the last meeting, just to find out where we are with them.
What were they?
The the post of the listening post, the listening sessions that we have.
The listening posts, yeah, we were waiting for the DPOP to be endorsed today so we could start to
And
advertise
I
for
think
those.
it's the results from the last one.
Oh, the results from the,
Yes.
So I asked that each of the recommendations receive a
Oh,
staff
yes, no, I know,
response.
sorry.
And then a report will come back to us with all of those for us to then consider.
yes, we had almost finished it. Keelan had her baby.
Yeah.
And so we've just finished it again today. So, sorry, that is, yes.
Next month?
It will, actually, I'll circulate it once we've had a look at it with you guys, and then we can put it in, but you'll get it as quickly as possible in the email.
And just an update with the Telstra communication, or the communications tower, and the Tocumwal tip, that were the other
Okay.
two.
As I've said with the regional connectivity, that's going to take some time. I'm working with, we've just got, so Ramjo, Hay and Carrathul have just left Ramjo. They're out of the regional connectivity project. I'm just waiting for MRCG, the Murray River Group of Councils, to get back to me that they're still all in. Then I've got a meeting next week with Telstra to start to finalise the scope. Now, it could still take a good 2 years before we see Earth turned, but that's, I've got to do a whole heap of steps. Yep.
It's just a question I often
Yep.
get asked.
Yeah, I know. So it's a big project and it's going to take some time. And the last one was the Tocumwal tip, and I do not have an answer for that one. So
Okay. Anyone else?
Sorry, just following on from the listening post one, will we have the responses from the last listening post before the next lot of listening posts?
yes, that was the aim, to have it done. But I'm just
No, it's okay. It's just so that we can at least go back to them and.
yeah. I want to be able to. That's why I want to circulate it to you guys quick. Well, we were supposed to come tonight. I want to circulate it to you so you can be happy with it, and then we'll put it out to the yes. To the community.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Stringer?
I just have one more.
Yeah.
It's just a nitty one. How long do we let these politicians leave their vote for me signs nailed to our trees and
I
fences?
did see that Michelle Millthorpe. We need to get
Yes,
on to her.
she's left them in Toke and here on the way back to Finley and on the road from between Finley and Toke. And
Claw flutes, yeah, I did
Yep.
actually see
Okay.
those.
Anything else? All right, thank you. So the Mayor's report, before I go into my meetings, there are a few things I wanted to mention. Firstly, in this past month, our Deputy CEO celebrated 20 years of service at Berrigan Shire, Matt Hanson, so I wanted to congratulate and thank
well done, Matt.
Matt for that effort, 20 years in the building, so thank you.
Thank you.
I won't ask for a speech.
I normally talk, but yeah.
It's also Volunteer Week, and we have a number of Section 355 committees who keep giving back to our community, and so a heartfelt thank you for their continued support of doing things we just simply could not afford to do and going above and beyond to our volunteer communities. So I wanted to mention that one. Speaking of, and I'll get to that, I don't know if people are aware of this, and I did go to the AGM with Councillor Stringer for the Foreshore Committee. Over 6,000 hours volunteered last financial year. So enormous contribution by those committees, and particularly that one. In terms of my meetings, on the 20th of April, Easter Sunday, I helped out Cobram Barooga Business Tourism at their Rivers Festival, which was well attended. On 25th of April, Anzac Day, I had services in Cobram and Barooga. 30th of April, I gave a speech to this year's cohort of the Fairley Leadership Program, along with the Chair Administrator at Moira, Graham Emerson. On the 5th of May, I attended the Tocumwal PGA Associate Dinner. It's the Victorian PGA Associate Championships, which Council has co-funded. There's a further 2 years, I think, on that agreement. The field is up to 144. We had 142 this year players. Most of them bring one person with them, so it's a good crowd for the community. You know, during May, the weather was really good. Usually the weather isn't that good in May, so it's not a high season, but it's good to see them there. And on the Friday, the 9th, I was there at the trophy presentation. On the 9th of May, the CEO and I caught up with Helen Dalton's office and updated them on a range of matters, including a number of health matters, and said that we'd quite like to see Minister Park in Tokemwal. They issued that as a challenge, and I said, well, I'll take that one on. So we're working on that. 13th of May, I had a meeting with the Tokemwal Dementia Alliance. Ostensibly, that was to be with Dementia Australia. Then they asked if they could bring Murrumbidgee Local Health District along, and their behaviour was left a lot to be desired. That's Murrumbidgee. At this stage, there's no progress. It sounds like we need to look at other avenues, and they still need to focus in on what they're looking to achieve. 13th of May, couple of AGMs last week. So Cobram Barooga Business and Tourism AGM, I attended that and took over the seat as they did their elections. 14th of May, Toke Foreshore Committee AGM, I did the same for them as well. And as I mentioned, all those volunteer hours are recognised. On the 15th of May, the CEO and I were online for part of the Ramjo strategic planning. It's supposed to be for the whole time, but apparently the facilitator can't work hybrid. Didn't tell us until we were there. Anyway, 16th of May, Ramjo board meeting, we were in Jerilderie. There was a lot of governance in this agenda.
It's good it's tightened up a lot though.
Which, well, it was more about writing down what we're going to do in the future rather than actually doing much, but that will progress. This morning we met with Nicole Overall MLC in relation to the Tokemwal ambulance campaign, and we should watch this space in relation to that. So that's all my meetings. I did want to also mention this delightful letter that I received
So
today from Ted Davis of Burleigh Heads, who wanted us all to see this win in Finley. He's designed this. He's also designed, this is obviously a young fella, good on him, writing to us in Finley for the Olympics in Brisbane. So
Those are pineapples.
pineapples, so
Pineapple rings.
well done to Ted. Got a bit of going in to be sending letters to us here in Berwick Shire about the Olympics and winning in Finley. So there we go. Would someone like to move my report? Councillor Nardikoa, seconded Councillor Payne. All in favour in noting that? Thank you. Shall we start? Councillor Payne, have you got anything to report? No. Councillor Nardikoa?
Just that I attended Anzac Day in Finley and laid the wreath there.
Thank you. Councillor Dennis?
Same, I attended Anzac Day in Tokemwal with the wreath, and also the Tokemwal Dementia Care this morning, or Dementia Alliance, I should say, correction.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Hannan?
I didn't lay the wreath in Finley, but I did, however, attend the dawn service and the 11 o'clock service.
Thank you. Councillor Stringer?
We went to the AGM of the Foreshore Committee in Tokemwal, and the other thing, their secretary is retiring after how many years was it?
Oh,
30 or something?
37 years?
37
yeah.
years, and
Yeah.
she's finally retired, but with a fight. They didn't want her to go.
No.
And Billy, who was their treasurer for 15 years, he's retired from the committee as well.
Yeah.
I might check our policy and see what the recognition is for that.
We will, yeah, there's a recognition policy, so we should, and Judy has not yet actually technically stepped down. They
No.
do have someone to replace, but she's keeping the seat warm for an
Yeah, for another couple
intervening
of months or
period.
something, yeah.
So that we have some time.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Healy?
Just a meeting for the Finley Showgrounds Committee that was attended this month, and also the Finley Anzac ceremony. Didn't lay the wreath, but was in attendance.
Excellent. Thank you. Councillor Brooker?
I have unfortunately been tied up with other commitments, so I haven't actually had a lot to do this last month.
No worries. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your reports. So that concludes our meeting for this evening. Before I go, I have received numerous messages to promote tomorrow's biggest morning tea in Tokemwal at the Memorial Hall. Starts at 10:30, runs till, I believe, 1 p.m. $15. Bring your cash. So the next ordinary council meeting will be held on Wednesday, 18th of June at 9 a.m. in the council chambers here in Berrigan. So there being no further business, we'll close the meeting at 6:24 p.m. Thank you.
I believe the